What's up, y'all? It's Monday the 24th, June 2013. It's hot this week. There's been rain, there's been drizzle, there's been humidity. Everything is sweating, including my testicles, which is why I'm in a different room. This one's got AC, the other one doesn't. So, this week's episode, we got something about telephones, cars and driving, porn, made you look, Good Friday, something about buttons, and the origin of the handshake, so you don't want to miss this one. High five, let's get this shit started. Ooh. First up this week, the question is it true that only half the world's population has used the telephone? Short answer is no, it's not true. Telephone by definition is a device that converts audio signal to electronic signal to be transmitted over a distance. In that case, rotary phones, touch-tone phones, wireless phones, cell phones, all of the recent technology as of the 40s when they invented the touch-tone, everything after that point is a telephone. According to the sources that I looked up, more than 50%, more than 80% of most countries has phone use. Now, if you look at Wikipedia, for instance, as one of the sources, some of the countries have more than 100%, 103, 115% of the population has a mobile phone. This means that each person has more than one phone. It doesn't mean that everybody gets to use it, but it means the registered number of phones is higher than the population for that area, which is interesting. But so the answer for that one is yes, I would say more than half of the world's population has used the phone. Previous to 1940, I don't think so. Besides that, if E.T. could make a phone call in the 80s, by that time, everybody could use a phone. Next question. Why is it that Europeans drive much safer than anybody else? This is interesting. I didn't know much about this because I'm personally not a driver. I know that I've seen some pretty crazy driving going on in my neighborhood, but that's neither here or there. So what I found out was the top 5 dangerous, I can count. The top 5 places, most dangerous places to drive in the world are as follows. Johannesburg apparently is the world's carjacking capital of the world, which is pretty scary. Mississippi is a dangerous place to drive, basically because of their rules of the road, no seatbelts necessary, that kind of thing. So a lot of accidents, statistically the dangerous places, I should mention. So the number of accidents caused are because there's no seatbelts in use and that kind of thing. So Mississippi's a good place to watch out for. The back roads in Bolivia, apparently, around the mountains, cliffside, stuff like that, those are very, very dangerous. You want to be very careful if you're going to be driving around there, above, on the street, or below them. You never know when a car might fall on your head. Pennsylvania is another dangerous place to drive. Apparently, their deer population is out of control, so chances of being hit by a deer when on the road are very high. You want to be careful of that. India is another dangerous place to drive, also animal related. They have the most number of cows wandering around. So imagine with a very dense population in areas in India and a very dense population of cows, and they're being very sacred to them, unless you're getting out to get a quart of milk and looking for the brown cow so you can get your chocolate milk on the go. Not a good place to drive either. Now, most of those places are not in Europe, which is interesting. They are in other places, but that doesn't mean that Europe's driving is the best, so let's continue with this. The 5 safest places to drive that I found were, apparently, Canada has got one of the safest places to drive. Your first time outside of the US or whatnot driving, Canada's road rules, the way that everything is laid out, driving on the same side of the road, things like that, that makes it very safe. Our road rules, alcohol level, things like that mean that there are no funny business, no funny stuff going on the roads. So Canada is one of those. Norway actually has one of the lowest road fatalities in the world. Norway's rules are actually very strict. They have no mobile use, no mobile phone use. seatbelt rules, alcohol percentage has got to be lower than 0.02%, so that's ridiculous. And then statistically, when asked, any of the Norwegian people would say they would never drink if driving anyway, so they're very responsible in Norway. Germany also is a very safe place. Despite having the Autobahn, I would say that 6,000 miles of an 8,000 mile road or something like that are restricted by speed limit. There are free range and keep up with traffic areas, but it doesn't mean that people are speeding all the time. So despite their Autobahn, Germany is another safe place. So that's 2 European Union countries that are actually safe. Italy's driving rules are also very strict. Their blood alcohol level percentage is 0.05, and there's another rule about drug offenders while caught driving under the influence. Their licenses are revoked. So the new rules in Italy keep the roads very safe. There's no influential substances being used on the road, so less accidents there. Apparently, Panama is another very safe place to drive. Now, you have to think about this, though. Panama's not got too many roads you can drive on. There are maybe 1 or 2 in and out of the canal, and then you've got rainforest, so traffic speeds and congestion are probably very low in those places. So the conclusion to this, why European places have statistically lower traffic fatalities, they're safer place to drive, their rules are a lot stricter. That's what it is. You want to go for a nice leisurely drive, head over to Europe sometime. Although I think it's probably cheaper to take the train. Okay. This next question is a little bit of a compound question. Question is, what is the origin of the handshake or the bow, say in Asian cultures? And an extension to this is also that I myself wanted to put out there, the origin of buttons on your shirts and garments. So the handshake, the origin of the handshake, to shake with your right hand in most cultures, is to show that you are weaponless. You extend your right hand, showing you have nothing in your hand. You mean no harm. You shake with your right hand. You shake with your right hand basically because of right-handed dominance in the time. While people are shaking with their right hands, being right-handed and having no weapon in their hand, the converse is true of the orientation of the buttons on your garments. In the 19th century, Victorian style, whatever, buttons became popular. And the reason why buttons are one way on a male's garments and different for a female's garments are basically because of their servants. And it's easier for someone to dress you if the buttons are the other way for females in their garments. The reason why they're on the underside on the right for a male is if he is engaged with a weapon in his right hand, it's easier to undo a coat with your left hand. And you can try this. Find a button shirt that's from your neck down, text with your phone, and undo the shirt with your left hand. See how easy it is. And then switch. Put the phone in your left hand and try unbuttoning your shirt with your right hand. Guys and girls, both try this. This is a challenge from AGNAK to you. The origin of the bow actually comes from early Asian cultures, and in Japan from 1338. And this is a long time ago. So what the bow is basically about is an etiquette that was written into their culture from a very prestigious family. The bow is supposed to show that you are giving praise to or admitting yourself on a lower level than your senior or to a family member, or even a sign as greeting, acknowledgement. There are 5 levels of bowing, but this is the origin of bowing. It's written as an etiquette and proper greeting and subservitude and gratefulness to someone else. In samurai culture now, I previously thought, and I still believe there's a history to this, when you bow, what you're doing is exposing your neck to a sword. It's much the same way that you extend your hand to show you have no weapon, you have no harmful intentions, or that you respect the person enough, I trust you not to cut my head off. This is the origin of shaking hands and the bow. As an extension now, the button thing was just thrown in there for a good measure. But don't be pushing my buttons, unless it's like and share, and I appreciate it. The next question is, what's the origin of the 5-day work week? This one coming from a rather disgruntled friend of mine. I looked up the origin of this one. You can thank Henry Ford in the car and automotive line assembly for the first part of this one. Later on, the U.S. unions pitched in and sort of did a balance of things and basically settled on an 8-hour work day. You have 8 hours off, 8 hours to sleep. This was one of the things that was brought up. There's a religious origin to the workday as well. Written in the Ten Commandments story with Moses, for instance, you have 6 days to work, and the 7th day you must pay homage to Sabbath. This is one religious aspect. Now, there are 3 of them that are known. Yes, 3. Again, I can't count today, so whatever. There's 3 of them. There's Christian, Jewish, and Muslim, and they each take a different day off. So Christians have their Sunday, which is the 7th day off. The Jewish religions will take a Saturday off, so then you get your 5 work week around this. And the Muslims will actually take a Friday off. Now, wouldn't it be nice to have a 4-day work week, work 10 hours a day, you have 3 days off? Now, I'm not saying that 5 days a week is that bad. I mean, it's much better than going back to, say, something like slavery, working from sun up to sundown. As long as you can see what you're doing, you can continue working. 5 days a week with 2 days mandatory off according to the union laws and whatever, I'll take it. I'm not going back to doing anything. Well, come to think of it, I've never had to do slavery, so let's be grateful, right? 2 days off is plenty sometimes. For the economic background to this, there's a quote, and let me just read this. There's a saying that ascribed to King Alfred the Great of England: 8 hours of work, 8 hours of sleep, and 8 hours of play make just a healthy day. Now, that's rather poetic and nice, so 5 days a week is pretty good. We don't want to go back to pushing pyramid blocks or stuffing cotton into bottles. So let's just leave it at that. Another question. What's my opinion of porn? I think anything 18 plus and legal and sanctioned and clean, whatever floats your boat. Last question is, what is the origin of Good Friday? Not so much the origin, because we all know what Good Friday is about. Jesus died for our sins. He's on the cross, resurrected on the Easter Sunday. We celebrate both days. Why is it called Good Friday? Now, I'm personally not that religious, so I don't know a whole lot about the story, and I've read a bit just to get educated on the fact. Good Friday doesn't sound too good to me. We have a great character in history who helped people out, who fed a lot of people, who probably built chairs and tables for people according to, his carpentry background. Jesus was crucified on a cross for our sins. This is pictured, and one perspective is that it's a great triumph over evil, and this is why it's a Good Friday. We also celebrate the empty tomb as a good thing because it shows his divinity, and him not being there and resurrected in a certain way is proof that he's the Son of God, and he was sent here and tried at the time and crucified for humanity's sins according to Christianity. This is why we call it Good Friday. Now, if you look at it another way, any Friday and possibly Monday off for holidays, those are good days too, so we might as well just take it. I'd prefer to have 4-day work week. So what we've learned from this is E.T. can call home in the 80s. Yeah, everybody used phones. 4 days or 5 days a week is better than working 7 or 8 days a week, depending on what planet you're on. Trust me, we'll go with that. And Good Friday and Easter Sunday are positive things. Just eat all the chocolate and forget about what it was called. When we all get tired, it's nice to hang around and get a tan. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, that's it for this week. Thank you very much for watching and asking your questions. Don't forget to submit some more questions for next week. The more you ask, the better the shows get. This is Ask AGNAK. We'll get back at you next Monday. Enjoy your week, and we'll all see you later. Take it easy. Fucking sweating my nuts off today. It's hot. hot. Cheers, you sweaty bitches.